What's going on? My name's Gabe. I run a marketing and staffing agency for barbershops called Groomed Growth. And today I'm going to be showing how to actually get dependable barbers for your barbershop so that you can take a step back from the chair and not deal with any back pain and free up your time so you can see your family and friends and free up your income so you can actually operate and manage a cash flowing asset that is your barbershop. Most people are too quick to hire and then they get burned and it screws up their business. If you hire 5 people in 3 months, what does that do to the culture of your shop? What does that do to your Google reviews? If you're getting crappy barbers constantly cycling through your shop, everybody in the area is going to come into your shop and realize that they can't get a good, consistent cut. They're going to leave a Google review, and then you're just going to be hurting long term. Yeah, there's really three main ways that the average shop is hiring barbers right now. Number one, they they like to reach out to barber schools. Another way that they do is they take any barber that will come into the shop, whether that be through social media or on the website or just walking in the door. And the third way is maybe they'll make a post on social media or do something and just get the word out in some way, somehow. If you've been doing that for the past couple of months or even years, then listen up. The problem with doing these kinds of attempts at hiring is that it just gives you low quality barbers. And what I've learned from just hiring barbers for barbershops all throughout the country is that screening calls are the most important part of hiring your barber for any location that you have and virtually in any business, but specifically with barbershops. If somebody wants to get the chance to cut in your shop, then you need to have some sort of criteria that they need to fit into in order to actually be a good fit. And here's an example of what I mean. If you want somebody who's dependable and reliable and somebody who can give you the peace of mind while you step away from the shop, they can take over. Taking somebody off the side of the street that you've barely met and barely gotten to know is not going to solve that problem of not having those dependable workers. No matter how bad you need to hire a barber, that will not solve that problem. And I've seen it happen so much. Like an example of this, I had a client that's actively hiring barbers and getting a little bit busier around this time of year. He gets a barber to walk into his shop and ask, just lives right around the corner. Hey, I live in the area. I cut at the shop before you had it. And can I cut here now? The shop owner was like, yeah, of course. I need the help, man. Let's get to work. Turns out later that week, doesn't really even show up. No communication with the owner. Hasn't even cut a head in the 3-4 days that he was there. The shop owner, my client, had to just fire him because it just didn't work out. Why did it not work out? Because there was no criteria for this barber to actually fit in for the shop owner to make a decision of whether it's a good fit or not. He literally just took, you're a barber, come into the shop and cut. That's not going to work. You just will get low quality barbers if you do that. Another example too is if you want somebody who's serious about learning the craft and you want somebody who's teachable and willing to put in the effort and the time and the energy, you're not going to get that just from whatever barber the school throws at you. Whatever barber they have that doesn't already have a shop, that maybe they want to give them a shot, they'll give you, it could be anybody from the shop, from the school. And as a lot of barbershop owners that I've spoken to and that I've had from my personal experience, these younger kids are not necessarily the most driven and hungry and willing to learn. That most likely won't happen. Turns out a lot of kids actually just won't show up and not communicate with you. They'll ghost you. They'll quit at the drop of a hat. They'll be smoking outside. They'll be doing other stuff outside that they shouldn't be doing when they should be cutting hair. Bottom line, if you take anybody from school, then you're going to get low quality barbers, which is most likely what you've had if you've been watching up until now. The good news is there is a kid out there that's young and hungry and wanting to learn. And there are experienced people out there that you can leave the shop and have peace of mind with because you know that they've got it because they've been doing it for over a decade. The key to finding these people is actually being intentional about what you want out of a barber for your shop. Once you have an idea of what kind of barber it is that will fit best in your shop, then start filtering through the barbers that actually want to come in and start telling them yes or no. Here's the process that I use just for shops, and it's super simple. Step one, you're just going to do a job post. It can be paid or unpaid. Indeed is a really good place. You get a job post out there, be very specific about the role, expectations, the type of person that you want, what qualifications, if any, if it's just an apprenticeship, if you want somebody that you're going to invest in, if it's commission or booth, rent, just be clear about that up front. Do a job post. Also promote through your marketing channels that you're currently doing. So you have a website. Most likely you have people's emails and phone numbers. You have barbers already that know barbers. And you have a social media page that you can put all of this promotional content that you're hiring out. Just get people to know. This is going to spark interest. The job posting and all this social media and website promotion, you will get people that will respond and say, hey, I know somebody that actually is looking for a shop. Or you'll get people that apply directly with their resume. So once you get all of these interested people, you're going to screen through all of the candidates that applied. So you look at their resumes, you look at their portfolios, whether that be on Instagram or wherever they have it. Sift through this, find the people. You could say 5 people, depending on how many people you have that have applied. Pick your top X% and get on the phone with those people. Don't waste your time with somebody who barely started school. Okay, so you have your job post, get on the phone with these people, and then when you're on the phone with them, I'm going to show you right now. All right, so this is an example of an AIP and an NPC. The AIP stands for A, being their attitude. You get on the phone with these people, instantly start gauging how are they answering questions, what's their tone, what kind of personality are they. That's what you rate, and you rate it from 1 to 3, 3 being the worst, 1 being the best. Next, gauge their intelligence. How good are they at holding a conversation, at sharing their thoughts, at just processing what you have to say and being relatable? Like, how much are they able to connect? The P is for presentability. If you get on Zoom with them, see what they look like, how they take care of themselves, how they present themselves. That's really important as well if they're going to be client facing constantly. Once you have your AIP figured out, give them an overall grade, A through C. Super simple, just how likely is it that you're going to place them? A through C, A being the best, C being worst. And then after that, any notes that you have from just digging around into their resume and just asking them questions naturally, put all of that into a paragraph and just summarize it to get a general gist of this person. That's what I did with this person. I said that they're light personality, easy to talk to, highly experienced, didn't want to budge on pay, was very firm, which I'll get into in a second. They talked about I asked them about their equipment. You have to check all of these boxes. So bring it into conversation casually. Oh, do you have equipment? Like, what would that look like if you come into a shop? Everybody will give you their answer. They probably have clippers or trimmers, whatever they need, they'll probably end up telling you. Another big one is language. You would be clear about this depending on your shop and your culture. If somebody's Spanish speaking, this person just happened to speak English and Spanish. They put it on their resume already if they apply, so that's super helpful. Their location as well. This is one of the most important, especially if you want a reliable barber. So don't choose somebody who's more than 30 minutes away. You want somebody who's less than 30 minutes so that they have zero excuse for getting into the shop. And when it comes to commuting as well, talk about transportation. How are they actually going to get to the shop from their house? If they live 15 minutes away, are they walking? Are they going to Uber? Are they going to take public transportation? A lot of people have cars, but get clear on this so that you can have the right information to make the right decision. Once you've pinned down all the logistics, including their availability, so figure out if they're part-time or full-time, you would be clear about that in your job posting anyways, but double check with them here and get those days that they actually want to work. What days of the week? How many hours a day? Are they going to be part-time or full-time? These are questions that will either naturally come up or you might need to force them. Figure out their licenses and qualifications. Again, they might have it on the resume, but another thing about the resume too is if you're asking about holes in their resume, if there's gaps in their employment and they're being vague with you, then that should be a red flag. And if you can't trust them based on the information that you're asking honestly and genuinely, and they won't give you a straightforward answer, this person is not trustworthy, that should be a red flag. That's just a good rule of thumb. You should be looking for red flags more than for green flags if you're aiming for a high quality person that you want, that's serious about investing and that you can rely on. A big one to talk about as well is compensation. So if you're going to be commission or if you're going to be booth, this person was just looking for commission and they were experienced, so they wanted high commission in their favor. Get clear on all this, and then if it is the right fit, ask them, how soon can you actually start? When can you come into the shop and start cutting hair for me? Ask them that question. They'll come up with something. They'll say, I can start on Monday, or they'll say, I actually had, a year ago, I planned a trip for a week starting tomorrow, so I won't be available until next Friday. Or they'll give you some sort of logistic reason. This is stuff that's really important. You got to dig below the surface here, get to know these people actually, figure out their personality, figure out their attitude, intelligence, presentability, and figure out where they're at in their life and if it's a good fit. The more information, the better. Stay on the phone with these people as long as you need. You are the business owner. Get all of the information that you need to make the decision. You have a phone call with each of the barbers whose resumes that you like. You found the barbers by posting and getting your job postings on like Indeed. Once you get them on the phone and get all the information that you need, if the call goes good, then and only then should they get an invitation into your shop where you get to see how they fit into the shop, like the culture. You get to see how they cut. From there, you decide if this is a person that you want in your shop. So this process is slightly tweaked. It has one extra step with an emphasis on this screening call, which that is where most people fail. Most people are too quick to hire and then they get burned and it screws up their business. If you hire 5 people in 3 months, what does that do to the culture of your shop? What does that do to your Google reviews? If you're getting crappy barbers constantly cycling through your shop, everybody in the area is going to come into your shop and realize that they can't get a good, consistent cut. They're going to leave a Google review, and then you're just going to be hurting long term. So do this right. Do this the right way, and you'll just see your barber's chairs filled for good. If you're looking at this and thinking that it's too much work and too much time, you don't have any time for this, this is the work that it takes to build a dependable and reliable business that runs without you. So if you don't have the time for this, then click the link in my bio, get on a call with me, and we can get a clear vision on where you're at, where you're trying to go, and if it makes sense for me to work with you. So if you're interested in that, then book a call with me below, and I'll see you on the call.